Good afternoon, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies for this week and how to best navigate them. Now, I have already done a video for the energies of this week, but today it feels really important to get back on track. So Monday is when I would normally be doing the Monday musings, and I've been given an opportunity to catch up, which is what this weekend feels like. It was all about an opportunity to really take stock of where we were, to look at things that we need to be putting into place, or put into place. Actually, that felt very, I kind of struggled with my words there because it felt very to the point, very matter of fact, and that feels like key for a lot of people over the next 6 months in order to navigate these old energies, new energies, collective energies, individual energies. I'm seeing the flower of life, figure eights throughout our whole body. But in order to navigate these, there is a real emphasis on looking at our own vessel, our own chariot as we go into that year next year, and being very firm with ourselves, being very direct with what it is we need in order to complete, for a lot of us, complete what it is we are being asked of. So first and foremost, it's remembering that we signed up for it. Secondly, knowing that we have a choice. We always have a choice. So today I just took a picture of myself carrying the sound pipes back home. The sound is coming home, back to my husband's shop. There will be no more backwards and forwards weekly sound baths in different places, because to unpack them and repack them on my own, you can't see them, but there's 2 sets and they're mammoth to carry, along with sound bowls and drums and everything else, was just too much. But the picture that I have of me carrying these pipes in, my husband's taken in front of his banner which says "Our Life, Our Choice," and it felt very poignant, first and foremost, to embody the 10 of Wands in the tarot, and that's what that picture speaks of. I'm carrying a backpack full of these sticks, these pipes, but also the underlying message, which feels key this week, to really search for the underlying message behind the insights we are being given. The underlying message was very much about, and it's going to be quick, it's trying to be quick, I can really feel that. Pause, breathe. The underlying message of the insight that you're getting this week is key to not letting it overwhelm you. For me this morning, that picture had in the background "Our Life, Our Choice" with the 10 of Wands, very much what we choose to carry forward. Now that may cause a reaction in people. It's not my choice for this. It's not my choice. This is the world we live in. It's not my choice. Actually, what we choose to focus on is, which brings me on to the second part of this video. I really struggled with setting up the camera. Now, I struggled with setting up the camera. I'm very aware it's Independence Day in America today. Happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. But I was setting up the camera. I didn't want the main light on. It felt really in your face. So I plugged in a salt lamp, but it wasn't enough light. I then wanted to take the sticker off the wall here that has no food or drink, because it felt very restrictive, like you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't do what you want to sustain yourself. Underneath it leaves a mark if I take that off. The alternative was to pull back the curtain, which is a very obvious answer, right? To have natural daylight come in. I tried the LED lights around the door, you name it, I tried it, but it all felt artificial. The light felt artificial, and this is the key this week. I pulled back the curtain. My resistance to pulling back the curtain was, you can't actually see it, but there's a gate behind the door and it looks like bars of a prison. This week, there will be a collective energy rising in regards to artificial light and how it has actually imprisoned us. Okay, so when I say we have a choice at how we look at things, that is not to disrespect what is going on, far from it. That is not to sugarcoat it. That is not to make something light when it isn't. However, darkness is still a form of light, just a denser version Okay, so this week in particular, really looking at where we may have put a veneer over things until we were able to digest it, able to stomach it. And that feels very poignant as well in relation to the stomach and the sacral this week. Start looking at our diet, right? So this here, no food or drink. At first, initial knee-jerk reaction, being told what to eat and what to drink. And that can really, especially when it comes to diets and healthy eating. I now, as a result of my own healing journey, have made the conscious choice, kicking and screaming, to adapt many things in my diet over the years. What a lot of people don't know about me is I experience many disabilities, from endometriosis through to fibromyalgia, muscle problems. My rib cage is often inflamed, you name it. I have tension in the jaw, all these side effects. Now, the reason that they don't inhibit my life to the point where it affects me on a daily basis like it used to is the effort that I've put in to healing my own body, because it's been part of my journey and that's what I now offer others. But that does include looking at my diet, and that does include looking at things like alcohol. I personally cannot drink alcohol now. I'm not saying everyone has to stop drinking alcohol. If anything, there's a bit of envy there on my part. However, for me, it doesn't work. Certain foods, dairy, meat, sugar, things like that, I can eat them. Well, eggs I can't. Meat I can't really without side effects, but I can eat them. I can drink the alcohol. I can push through what my body is trying to tell me is not good for me. And the side effects have become not worth it anymore. So what I'm getting at here, when we look at how to really look after our body as a vessel, and that is going to be key. Again, it's going back to that original message this week. Our body is our vessel for the next 6 months and the following year. It is the only way we are going to navigate whatever comes up, is by really taking care of our physical form. I cannot stress this enough. We can fight the messages in regards to our health, relationships, jobs, whatever, that our body is telling us, that our intuitive self is telling us, or we can listen. We can stop seeing it as a restriction. Look at the mark underneath, look at the scars underneath, look at the trauma underneath that has almost led to us coating over and putting an artificial light over what our body is trying to tell us. With no judgment, observe, witness it, and put those actions into place. And that is where we choose what we focus on. So it isn't to say that things aren't happening. It isn't to say that there are a lot of dualities going on out there. It isn't to say that there is a lot of sadness and a lot of trauma and pain coming to the surface. What I'm saying is we have the ability to hold space, each of us in our own unique individual way, and it is up to us to see where we are unable to do that and to address those concerns in our actions. First and foremost with our physical body. So that does feel like a bit of a lecture, and I was going to say lecture over and lighten it up, but actually it's time. For those that are ready, you know you are ready, and it is time to start putting those actions in place. Small steps. I now have a house full of eco-friendly cleaning products. I didn't get them all at once. I didn't do healing and good diet and everything all at once, you know. One year I cut this out, another year I did this, and the way that I did it, the way that I did it is to listen to my body. I'm not suggesting anybody go out there and do a mass detox of their life, their relationships, their diet. If anything, that can turn the body into stress. Particularly when it comes to healing, you can have what's called a healing crisis. Now, having had them several times over, they're not pleasant experiences. Great learning tools, but not pleasant experiences. So it is about balancing those actions with compassion for your body as a vessel as well, and knowing that what you are doing is releasing any toxins, you are releasing any energetic history, you are releasing any trauma, you are removing the mark behind the restrictions, but not necessarily the restrictions put on you, but on the ones we have put on ourselves. Okay, so back to artificial light. It's going to be different for everybody because the amount of light that we see is different for everybody. So I remember an experiment on one of the social media platforms in regards to a dress and what colour people saw it, and everyone saw it differently. Now that caused a divide. Some people saw blue, some people saw black, different vibrations of energy, different abilities of colour. The more light you see, the more light you are going to see. So it is about making that conscious choice here to focus not on artificial light, but on the genuine light underneath. And that takes practice. That is a skill that we are all here to hone in on. So is there anything else with that? My tooth is hurting. It's going to take strength. That always comes through. My tooth always hurts with the strength card. It's going to take strength, and it is in regards to the masculine. It's on my right side, and it's also going now into my ear. So it is about having strength and listening to what our actions are actually telling us. So I mentioned that the sounds are home. Yeah, I mentioned that I can now work with them from where I'm at. For the most part, I'm in a place where I can listen to what is going on to my body and let my actions match what is needed. That's the other side of things. It's one thing to have instinct and intuition. It's another to act on it. And if we don't act on it, what we're doing is muffling ourselves. We're muffling our body. We're refusing to listen. Okay, so we are restricting ourselves. So if our body says, actually, every time I do X, Y, and Z, I feel poorly, and we continue to do it, let's get real here. What we're doing is actually abusing our body. Okay, so there's an awful lot of restrictions occurring out there, and an awful lot of passive, aggressive restrictions occurring, none more so than the ones we are applying on ourselves. So with that in mind, I'm going to look at the energies this week. How are we? 12 minutes 27. And look at how we can best navigate them, but it feels key to get back on track. It's never too late to start. I mean, I think I start most things on a Monday morning and then by Wednesday I have to start again, but that's okay. It doesn't matter how many times we fail. It only takes one time to succeed, right? Cliche as it sounds. It is about getting back up, doing it another level. It's not about what we didn't achieve. It's about what we learned while we were trying to achieve it this week. So getting back on track definitely is key. For the next 6 months, definitely sort our shit out, okay? Looking after the physical vessel. Again, I've been going on about this for several years now, but think of it in the terminology of pregnancy. When you are conceiving something, what you try and do for the most part is provide an environment as best you can for that child, that idea, whatever it is you're trying to conceive, knowing that this is the vessel, this is the sacred space that will deliver whatever it is we're trying to achieve. And that's always the case, whether that's a baby, whether that's an idea or a relationship or anything, you know, it always comes through us first. So clean house, yeah, clean up the body. And the other thing is to make a choice. Okay, so what I really feel collectively is it's not so much about whether you do something or not. It's about the aberration of not doing it and looking at how that might make you feel. So, you know, we can sign up to the gym and not actually go to the gym. And we can say that we tried and maybe next time we'll improve, or we can actually get down there or whatever. But if we don't go and we then beat ourselves up constantly for not going, that has a more negative effect than not actually going. So what are we getting at here? Yeah, there's artificial light, but there's artificial darkness as well. And a lot of us are capable of putting darkness on something when there isn't. So the last thing I'm going to share today is I shared some news with a friend of mine just about how, as a result of hard work, and I'm going to admit it, bloody hard work, some things are really panning out for me. And I felt like she was the ideal person to share it. And for some of us, sometimes when we share good news in time of hardship, we can almost feel quite guilty of sharing something because we don't want to, well, the analogy I get is rub someone's face in it. But actually right now, any good news is needed. Any good news is needed, and it may trigger other people, and it may, people may get envious or jealous or whatever. But when we get jealous or envious, it's because we want that. We want to embody that energy. I don't particularly want to drink alcohol, but I do definitely want the carefree, uninhibited energy that alcohol used to bring me. Absolutely. So it is about, when we're triggered, if we feel jealous or envious or whatever, what is it underneath that we actually want? And admitting that, and being okay with admitting that, and finding a different way of getting it rather than being jealous or trying to burst the bubble of other people. The other side of it as well is when we have something beautiful to share. Now that can be quite difficult. I understand that when other people are struggling, and it is about picking the scenarios, but all reality is balanced, and right now more than ever it's very important to, as much as we can, keep that balance in check. There is shadow out there, there is light out there, there is artificial light out there, but there is also artificial darkness out there, and it is about looking at that with ourselves as well. And it's understandable, a lot of us like the mark under the restriction. A lot of us have scars from getting somewhere and perhaps losing it, or having our hopes up and not quite, we have, again, it's those secondary gains from last week, but this is deeper. We seem to have scratched the surface with the secondary gains. This is deeper to the trauma underneath it, and just acknowledging and saying to the body that it's okay to try again, that it's okay to have that hope, that it's okay to want that upliftment, to see the beauty in things, to lighten up. So it's going back to that 10 of Wands, it's a choice, okay? It's a choice to look at what we carry. It's a choice to look at what we choose to carry forward as well. The 10 of Wands is the end of the Wands, okay? So as we go from the 10, we go into the Ace, and it is very much about looking at what one thing is behind everything that you want to achieve in the next 6 months. Is it physical strength? Is it connection? Is it love? Is it abundance? Is it knowing? What one thing? Not all the different aspects. What one thing are you trying to achieve? What one sound do you want to hear and feel in your body? And align all your actions with that. So I am just going to quickly say, she says, by the time she finished drinking, it's the longest sentence. Interesting, the longest sentence. On the 7th of July at 7:07, I will be doing a sound bath at Hampshire Canner, and I'll put the link underneath. It's £7 each, and it is very much linked into that portal, and it feels very much linked into restrictions and ending of sentences, and really connecting to the one thing that we have gained from all of this, the shadow, from all of this over the last few years, and taking that forward, because there will be something, and this is where we decide what it is we focus on. So we can focus on the lessons, we can focus on everything that's going on, or we can really hone in on the one thing that has been brought to light, the light within the darkness, and take that forward. So it could be something awful has happened in your community, but it's built up community spirit, and it's that you take forward. We do get to choose what we focus on, and that's not to say that certain things don't happen. It's not to say that they're not real. It's not to say that they won't rip us apart at a heart level, and we will be moved to our core. Because when that happens, our own trauma gets triggered. When that happens, our own energy gets shifted. When that happens, we heal individually and collectively, and we look after our vessel in order to be able to have those shifts and changes come through us. But we focus on that one thing that we're going to take forward in our actions. So we see something, it hurts our feelings. Do we then act out in pain and negativity to destroy other people's happiness or bring down an energy because we don't feel safe and we feel sad or upset because of what's happened? Or do we flip it on its head and go, wow, that really hurt me because of X, Y, and Z, which means I feel A, B, C for such a situation, and I need to hone that in and take that forward. It's up to us, guys. It's always been up to us, and it's not easy. No one is saying it is easy, but it is doable, and it's one step at a time, and it is all about growth. So we can have a really good day one day, and then the next day, oh gosh, maybe not so much. And that is strength. What I'm seeing is the two ropes. You know, when you do the weightlifting, that is strength training, right? It's spiritual strength training, but we do need the physical vessel. Spirituality is not only about spirituality, it's about the physicalness as well. It's about applying it to things in our life, our everyday life. So with that in mind, I'm going to quickly look at the energy. So like I say, back to basics, restart. And with that in mind, I'm going to use the Vision Quest Tarot because they're shamanic, and for the first time in a very well overdue long time, I'm going to admit that's the energy I resonate with here on this screen. And that feels like key. What energy do you resonate with? Admit it, acknowledge it, bring it into your every being, your physical form, because it's part of who you are, and be aware of what energy you're resonating with as well, and the fact that you're bringing it by resonating with it into your physical form. Okay, so look at what you carry. I really feel that in my root chakra. I really feel like a lightening up, and I can see many chains almost being released from the root chakra this week in particular, potentially. Obviously it's down to us. Okay. Monday, wow. Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's move those out of the way a minute. Okay, we're going to have 2 for Thursday, Friday. I'm going to set that for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Gosh, an incredible week. An incredible week. So at the bottom of the pack, we do have 5 of water, which is loss, and this weekend in particular, a lot has been brought to light about the world that we live in, and perhaps it doesn't align with the world that we want to live in. And that can be very difficult to acknowledge, but one of the first stages of bringing in the new is not one of the first stages, the ultimate stage. We can talk about getting rid of things, we can talk about moving forward and releasing things. That doesn't happen until we acknowledge. And that takes as long as it needs to take, and it's almost on a multi-layer. So this weekend in particular, that has risen for a lot of people, acknowledging where we're at as a collective. Okay, but with that comes the Hermit. No, we think we want to go within, but actually it's the Hierophant and it's the Shaman, and that's why I call it the Hermit, because the Hermit for me is always the Shaman, but it is that ability about taking our life forward to teach others, but also ourselves, to learn from our lessons, to take forward what we have discovered and teach that in all that we do. So today, for the Monday, we have the Star card, which is just I love these cards. Just absolutely beautiful. Blurry. Why are we blurry? Okay, gorgeous, gorgeous. So for Monday we have the Star card, and the card was very blurry, and what I really feel is to almost step back and then come back into focus. If we're not quite sure what we're trying to achieve, just to step back from the situation and then bring it back into focus. The other thing that I see is the Syrian Gateway, which started yesterday. We had a most incredible sound bath yesterday with the Sirius Gateway. And it is about recognizing not only our physical sun, but Sirius is our spiritual sun, and ensuring that they are aligned. So ensuring that our spiritual light is connected to our physical light. When we're not sure what we're trying to achieve, our actions and intuition aren't aligned. So take that step back, feel into the body, Yeah, how does that resonate? Is that doable at this moment in time? If so, what actions do I need to put into place here? If we have just action, we don't have that intuitive creative force behind us, that soul force behind us. If we have just spiritual insight, we just have a lot of thinking and potential without the action. There needs to be that balance, and that's the star card here. And that's the potential that is available from now until at least the 9th, well, definitely this week, as we lead into the Lionsgate. As we go into the Lionsgate portal at the end of this month. Now, I know everyone says it's the 8/8, but it does happen at the end of July. And I'm quite adamant about that because I was born at the peak, at the beginning of the Lionsgate portal, and was due at the peak. So it is about knowing that we don't have to wait for things to peak for there to be change. We don't have to wait for this huge crescendo. I see like a volcano, like a mountain. We don't have to wait for things to build right up before we act. Okay, the energy is there. Small steps. We don't have to get to the 10 of Wands before we find the Ace of Wands. Small steps in every stage. Okay. So the Lionsgate is going to be very heart opening, and there is work to be done from now until then, and that is in our intuitive actions. What are we trying to achieve? What are we doing about it? And it feels very firm. So on the Tuesday we have 6 of Water, which is the 6 of Cups. And in this deck it's called Pleasure, and that is, yeah, it's the ultimate healing balm. Okay, so I want to show you the 5 of Water here. And you can see that the 5 of Water, the cups are all split and broken. So blurry. Step back. Step back from the loss and find the pleasure in it. Because in the 6 of Cups, they're overflowing. If we can step back and really connect to our body, to our earth, to what is actually going on, to our, I can hear the children upstairs, to our childlike innocence, we can find the light there. It's not as hard as we think it is, okay? It's when we are trying to do it from a negative, lower energy, it's almost like climbing that mountain. Instead, look at our energy, lift our vibration, and then look at situations. So on the Wednesday, we have the Mother of Earth, we have the Queen of Pentacles. I'm just going to see what's going to shift there. Excuse me. I can really feel that in my heart. Excuse me. And in my root. So when we act on our intuition, when we actually create physical magic, even if it's something small, oh, I feel like going for a walk, then go for a walk. I feel like sharing this, then if you can do it, share it. Rather than getting caught in our headspace, about who wants to hear this, who wants to do this. When we actually act on our intuition, we become the mother of our own creations, and that feels like key. I could really feel that in my heart and in my root chakra, and in that we know that we are held. And it feels like our masculine inner child needs some nurture this week, and that comes from not questioning why we want to do something, trusting and holding space for that. And holding space for our masculines as well this week. So on the Thursday, we have the Ace of Air, which is the Ace of Swords, and the 4 of Earth, which is security. I like this deck because it isn't about holding on to things. It is more the medicine wheel, and the Ace of Air is a feather. Okay, so what ideas are we actually going to bring to the medicine wheel? What ideas are we actually going to bring to our own internal cycle here? Rather than it being, oh, I'm holding on to this. Acknowledging we may be holding on to something for a reason, and that there may still be treasure in that we are holding on to, that we haven't quite taken forward in a way that needs to be taken forward. We can often look at things that we are holding on to and think, oh, I should heal from that, I should do this, I should do that. Why would we hold on to what isn't good for us? What is underneath it? Is it an issue of self-worth? Do we not feel worthy of making that change? Is it the diets out there don't work for us and we want to discover our own? You know, we do have the shadow aspect, the rebellious aspect within us, but 9 times out of 10 it's there for a reason. So really going into your own cycles this week, really going into what it is you're creating, looking at any patterns there and why you may be creating those patterns, but not from a just negative perspective. No artificial shadow and artificial light. I see that almost as being as an artificial light, because when we look at something and we judge it, and we then do healing from that because we assume that it's a bad thing, the healing that we get is actually an artificial light because we've done it from a place of judgment. So really stepping back this week, this is what I create. These are the patterns. This is the crap of the patterns. This is the good of the patterns. What do they have in common? What have I learned? What is the middle ground through this cycle, this medicine wheel that I've been going through? Find that. Take that forward. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On the Friday, we again have two. I feel that in my higher heart. On the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have two cards again. And we do have Temperance, which is integration. I just love that. Looking at what we're weaving. Yeah, look at the stories that we have told. And look at the creations that we are handing onto the next generation, and bringing that together, working together here. So there's more to that, but at the moment it feels like a very early stage of remembering pleasure, remembering the higher vision here, remembering that you're held, and just focusing on what brings that. And that's not to say you're putting your head in the clouds. That's not to say that you're not doing your bit of worrying for the earth and sending healing and trying to change the world. Balance it. Balance it. Okay, so you spent X amount of time doing healing for this, or being with the family, or whatever, working, whatever. You're going to spend that time doing something for you, something that brings you joy, because you can only bring light to the table from the level that you are at. You can only heal from the level that you are healed. You can only guide from the level at which you have received guidance. Everything you share is at the level that you receive. It is as simple as that. So if you really want to make a difference, if you really want to share things, receive as well. It's vital. It's not selfish. It's not selfless. It's beyond all of that. It's a vital flow of integration. It is temperance, and it is in every moment. Chop wood, carry water. Not just I will sit and be still for an hour X amount of times a week. I have no judgment on that, but meditate while you're walking. If you don't have the time, meditate while you're cooking. Just be in that moment. But there is time. There is a way that you can create this balance, but it is your choice. So we then have on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, on the Saturday, 9 of fire. So the 9 of wands, not quite the 10. We don't need the 10 anymore. What have we gained? What's the difference between the 9 and the 10? It's one rod. What have we gained in this deck is inner strength. There's that strength part. The inner strength to listen to our actions, to listen to our body, and actually align them. Look at the power of that storm. That is Heyoka energy. That is nuclear energy. That is impressive. I've noticed this week in particular, there's been a lot of Egyptian deities coming through, such as Sekhmet, and there was a scorpion queen energy come through yesterday. This is very powerful femininity out there, very powerful support behind our actions. Okay, but it is about making that choice to stand in that strength. And it is on another level. It is on another level. I've noticed myself, I've actually joined a gym and I have my induction on Wednesday. And, at the moment, reality-wise, I did 7 laps yesterday. That's all I could do. My back really hurt. I couldn't do any more. But it's a start, and it's the beginning point of a inner strength that I know is obtainable. And it's having that belief in yourself and your connection, because on the Sunday we have the Ace of Water. We have that overflowing cup, that has come from the loss. We have that cup that is left over from it, that is flowing from the pleasure of combining the two. Bittersweet. Life is very, very bittersweet, and it isn't until often we lose something that we appreciate it. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is a choice to focus every moment that you can on what is in front of you. Really, what is your reality behind it? What are you actually seeing? What are you actually perceiving? Is it loss? Is it pleasure? Is it connection? Is it what you're trying to bring in? Is it union? Is it integration? Is it strength? We have the shaman underneath, and it is about applying now, bringing that light down. The only way to do any of this is by applying what you know to what you do, applying what you know to who you are. We then see the actions being reflected back, and that's where our reality changes. And when our reality changes, things change. Okay, so 3544, we have 3 major arcanas this week. The Hierophant, I keep wanting to call it the Hermit, the Hierophant, no. Sorry guys, those teachers out there, those leaders out there, it's time to get out there now, not to hide anymore, I'm afraid. It's time to shine our light, to integrate everything that we've learned in our actions, in what we take forward now, not keep going within and discovering just for ourselves, but to share. And that's the 3 major arcanas this week: the Hierophant, the Star, and Temperance. They're powerful, powerful, shamanic, magical cards here, where there is so much potential there. But it is about taking those lessons forward and integrating them in everything that we do. That's how shamans are born. And it does feel like that. A lot of Heyoka births this week, which is exciting. Welcome home. The sounds are coming home. We then have 1, 2, 3 cup cards. Well, 4, sorry, with the 5 of water. And I always want to put that to one side. When we put loss to one side before it's taught us what it needs to teach us, when we try and push through our healing process because it's uncomfortable, because we don't want to be in that, we can get the 4 of Cups, which is very apathetic, very bored. We're looking for that something that's a bit more sustainable. And it's because we haven't actually embodied the deepness, the richness, the fulfillment of our experiences, even the crappy ones. You know, once we really embody them, that's when our learning takes on an experiential level. And that's when we not stop repeating patterns, but decide why we would repeat them and whether or not we want to. So 4 cup cards this week, and it is really about finding the pleasure in bringing things together, balance within yourself and your own connection to your emotions this week. Anything else on that? Lots and lots and lots of shifts. Please drink lots and lots of water, and bladder care feels really, really important this week as well. So really taking care of yourself. And sacred sexuality I can see this week as well for many, which is, really the more we're present in what we create, the more we're present in our emotions and our flow and our psyche and our spirituality, the more they shift, the more they move, the more they flow, the more they connect. So really be with your body and your body's ability to... There's another word for... Okay, I see it. I see the other cup on the star card. Be with your body's ability to create what it needs, because it knows how to do it. Just like anybody in labor, just like anyone that's doing their own healing, deep down inside you have the answers. Deep down inside you know how to do this. You may need someone to guide you, but you can do it. Only you can do it. We then have one sword card, and it is the Ace of Swords, and it's very much that connection, very much looking at what focus you are taking forward mentally this week. So I can feel... Is that going to shift? I can feel almost a questioning as to whether or not that it can be that easy. Excuse me. I feel it stuck in my throat. I can feel an energy of regurgitation, of ancestral regurgitation of things that we have fed off of from our ancestors that aren't ours anymore. Really acknowledging that and almost shifting them out of our solar plexus this week. Really shifting them out of our solar plexus this week. How do we do that? We speak our truth. We speak what it is we need. We listen to what our truth is saying to us. And yes, that is enough. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be that simple. So what I'm seeing with this card is something as simple as, you know, years ago when I found a feather on the floor, I would be so excited. I'd be like, oh, it's an angelic message. And we all get caught up. And sometimes I walk past and think, oh, that's a feather, that's nice. Actually, that's come out of a bird's wing. You know, that energy has fallen at our feet. And what we do with that is up to us. So now if I see a feather, I will pick it up and I will make a wish, or I will put it on my altar, or I will do something with it. It is about acknowledging the gifts in front of us. It can be that simple, it can be that pure, it can be that beautiful, but we have to, I feel like I want to put matchsticks, open our eyes to what is actually going on around us, the simplicity and the beauty as well. So we then have one pentacle card as well. So interesting, we have all these cups. Oh no, 2 pentacle cards. The Queen of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles. So we have the Mother of Earth and security. And as we start to go into next year, well, this month, the 7 is preparation for next year. But this year has always been about the Lover's card and our own self-worth, our own place here on the belly of Pachamama, and our connection here and our belief in our security and abundance here. We're talking Adam and Eve. We're talking stories as old as time. We're talking about being chucked out of Eden for something that we may have done wrong, for connecting to our physical body, okay, and our desires and the knowledge that can be found from within that. This week in particular, as we start to go into next year, it is really looking at, okay, what are we holding on to in regards to our relationship with the earth, our mother, our ability to create, nurture, tend to, the feminine. Why are we holding on to it? Is there anything left in there that could bring us security? Or is our masculine just not quite ready to let go of it yet? And if that's the case, then nurture, hold, prepare. Yeah? Okay. So, compassion, that's what I hear. Compassion this week is key. We then have one card as I talk about compassion, which is the 9 of Wands, which is inner strength. So having compassion for the whole journey, and it feels like as we get to the end of it, it's like, oh my God, wow. It does feel like a labour and a birth, but what I'm sensing is the end part of it, the part where we go, oh, it's done. There's still a little bit of, isn't it over yet? But I do feel that, oh gosh, like when the placenta comes out, like it's actually done. So it's one thing to deliver, but unless we have that third stage, that very thing that created what we were trying to achieve, deliver, it's not over. And this week feels like it's time for the placenta. It feels like it's time for that final stage to be delivered. And it's going to take compassion. So when we have again, back to analogies of labour, but when we have a placenta that is stuck, I don't know why I say stuck, that is stuck. One of the best things we can do is skin to skin with mother and child. So if you feel as if you can't, this week you just can't, you want it done, but you cannot get to the bottom of what it is or any of it, connect to the earth. Go and have some skin to skin with your mother earth, your Pachamama. Put your feet on the ground, lay belly to belly with the earth, and just have some compassion. If we could see ourselves through whatever created us and our journey and the ups, the downs, the dark, the light, the work that we do, the relationships we make, the process that our body alone goes through just to talk, if we could see ourselves through the eyes of our Creator, we'd see our inner strength. We'd know what we choose to carry forward, and it would be that light. Yeah, so really this week, have some compassion for yourself. Keep the balance. look after yourself. And what I'm going to do, because I'm in my husband's shop, which is all related to CBD. Now, what a lot of people don't know is I do a lot of spiritual work on myself, a lot of healing, a lot of exercise, a lot of looking at good diets and all of that kind of thing. I also cannot take painkillers. When all of these health concerns started, I ended up with mass allergic reactions to everything, including painkillers. So painkillers for me have been a no-no. Hives, rashes, inability to breathe, really high level, at one point in hospital, anaphylaxis in regards to painkillers. My body said no, there has to be another way, and I found another way, and it was CBD. So with that in mind, I'm going to do some plant medicine cards. I'm just going to pull one from each pack, really connecting to the medicine available from the plants. So from plants, that can be nature. Go outside, listen to the trees, smell the roses, touch the flowers. Don't pick them unless you really, really need to, but touch the flowers. Connect to the messages of nature. There's great medicine out there. Okay, so I have a couple here. So first and foremost, how beautiful is that card? It reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. Living Tree Orchid Essence, and this one is called Unconditional Snuggles. I cannot say this plant's name. Something snowbird. A gentle, comforting, lasting embrace. Great for adults at the end of a tough day. Good for children at any time, and especially if working with night fears. For children as well, it can be combined with white beauty to give them reassurance that they are fully loved. I'm not a herbalist. I cannot recommend that you go out and buy these particular medicines. I do not know the side effects or anything like that, and no complementary therapy should ever replace medicine, as in tablets and doctors and physiotherapists and all that kind of thing. They're complementary, they run alongside. But in this message of unconditional snuggles, obviously if you feel drawn to buy the snowbird or to find this flower, then that is on your discretion. But the biggest message here is about the lasting embrace, the unconditional snuggles, the embracing of the inner child, the working with our fears, and the assurance, the reassurance even, that we are fully loved. This week in particular feels like real key messages from the plant medicine. We then have Sundew. Again, I cannot say the name. This is Australian bushflower essences, so you would be able to find these actually in oil form. And the message here is grounded, focused, and attention to detail. Going, you couldn't write this stuff, right? And then we have Hibertia, and that's about integrating the intellect with the heart of true wisdom. So we have some beautiful, beautiful plant messages here. Knowing that we are fully loved, focusing on that, grounding in that, and then finding the intellect of the heart and the true wisdom of integration into that. So have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and I shall see you Monday. Take care.